Hi guys, and welcome back to Maths with Miss S. This is part 1 on factorising, and before we get into the factorising, I want to remind you of how to multiply a bracket by a factor. 3 times in brackets x minus 2 is the same as 3x minus 3 times 2, or when we actually calculate that out, it's 3x minus 6. This process would be called multiplication. If we now want to work backwards from 3x minus 6 back to 3 times in brackets x minus 2, this would be called factorization. And we basically are looking for a factor that they share that we can pull out, and the rest remains in a bracket. So let's look at 4x minus 12. The trick that I would recommend you use is writing down an extra step where you factorize all your number values, such as 12 here, as 4 times 3. We can now see that 4 is part of both parts of this subtraction. So we can pull the 4 out. If you cover it up with your finger, all that's left is x, a minus, and a 3. Put that in the bracket and you have factorized. Now let's look at 15x minus 3xy next. The 15 can be written as 5 times 3, so we have 5 times 3x minus 3xy. Again, we're going to highlight what these two parts have in common. The 3 and the x comes up in both. Therefore, we can factorize the 3x and put 5 minus y in a bracket. That's what remains if we divide everything by 3x. Okay, if we divide 5 times 3 times x by 3x, the 5 is the only thing left. The minus needs to be carried along. And 3xy, if that's divided by 3x, then we would have just the y left. Now, let's do 36a plus 16a squared b. 36 is actually 4 times 9, and 16 is 4 times 4. This is something I factorized there, and a squared is actually a times a. Again, we're going to highlight what they have in common. 4 and a comes up in both, and if I were to cover these up, all that's left is 9, a plus, 4, a, and b. Okay, so we're going to write that down, and again, we have the result of our factorization. Now let's do one more there, 49m squared n plus 21m n squared. Now this is trickier because I'm using two letters that are fairly similar. I have m's and n's in there. The 49 is 7 times 7, my m squared is m times m, and n is just carried along, plus 21 is 7 times 3 times m times n, because n squared is the same as n times n. Again, we're going to highlight what they have in common, 7m and n, and what's left is 7m plus 3n. I hope that helped.